What's going on, everybody? My name is Mezariah, and I'm back with another video. Please, before we start this video, please like and subscribe and interact with this video, comment on this video, share this video to so many people because today's video is a very important video. Just like all my other videos are always important. And I got an amazing revelation. This is not necessarily a good revelation, but this is something that is connected to me personally, but I know that it can help a lot of people understand the judgment of God, right? And God has been dealing with me about anniversaries for quite some time now. He will allow something to take place on a specific date, and then the year after, 2 years after, 3 to 8 to 9, 13 years after that exact date, I'll see something manifest on that specific date, on the initial date that it happened. And I looked at it because I looked at it closely because God always talks in patterns. He always puts things in our face more than once for us to get it. And sometimes he'll do that with anniversaries. So he'll allow something to happen on the date, and then he'll allow something else significant to happen on that date that connects with that date. So if you were ever wondering about anniversaries and specific dates, God has a lot to do with dates. He doesn't give me dates through my dreams or visions or anything like that, but he allows me to see it all the time. He allows me to see it manifest um through whatever, but it'll be through, on a specific date, and it'll be connected to whatever happened on that date, and that's happened so many times. And it gives us another perspective of how God really be talking to us all the time. Like, it's crazy. It's really insane to witness it. And I want to speak on something specific. Back in 2019, I was in New Orleans on a trip, and I was having the time of my life. And of course, I didn't have that wisdom, that knowledge, that understanding of spiritual things like I do now. I was always spiritual. That's when I was really coming into who I am as a person. And it's so amazing because I went there on August 20th, and I stayed there for 7 days, from August 20th to August 27th. And not really thinking anything of it, the 20th is coming up, and 6 years is coming up. And I never actually paid attention to any anniversaries to that date until the 6th year that is coming, that is approaching. And God is so amazing how He will reveal things. He will typically show me what I'm evading, what I am dodging, the judgment that I am dodging, or an attack that I could be dodging. But in this case, it would be judgment. And God is so intentional. He will allow certain things to take place in your life, and you don't even know how close you are to losing everything, losing yourself. And it really humbles you because you look back and it's like, oh my goodness, this could have happened, that could have happened, I could have did this, and this would have took place, and I wouldn't even be in this place right now, and this understanding of spirituality, or I wouldn't be here if this didn't happen. You know what I mean? And God is so merciful, man. So where do I even begin? Because I, as I was watching Katrina videos, right, on TikTok, I was seeing different Katrina videos of the stories that were never really told by certain people, and they were revealing information that nobody ever really knew. But that wasn't even the main part of what I'm even getting into. It was more so of the alignment of me watching those videos around this time. And I find it really peculiar of the number 6, because we're going into the 6th anniversary of me being in New Orleans, and this is also the 20th year of the Katrina flood and the levees being broken, and that was August 29th, 2005. So I want you to keep those dates in mind, right? And I since I've learned and gained knowledge about anniversaries, every time there's an anniversary or something, or however many anniversaries there's been, sometimes I'll look up the meaning of the number. So if it's the 6th year, I'm gonna look up the number 6, and we know typically the number 6 is not a good number when it comes to like the Hebrew origin of anything, of the number 6. And when you look it up, it basically gives you a bunch of different understandings. And this is the Hebrew Strong's Concordance. We don't do numerology over here. This is the Hebrew Strong's Concordance. And you look at all these different definitions. It means to perish, to destroy, to break, to fail, to lose, to cause, to make, to perish, to to have no way to flee. And I find that so interesting because that's a scary number. And back in 2019, that was a time where I I was very lost. And in one of the definitions is to lose, and I was on the brink of losing everything. I was on the brink of being perished, or perishing, excuse me, or in failing. I was on the brink. That was the way my life was going. So I was so close, right? And I was still trying to figure out who I was under the power of Christ, under the authority of Christ. And this is why I always tell you how intentional God is, bro. Like, he will save you in the nick of time. He will allow you to hang on with a string of faith. We're all being held together by strings of faith, and we don't even know it. We're so close, on the edge at all times. It's like living for God, living for Yah is like living on the edge, but with faith. And that was a time where I was about to lose everything, and I find it so peculiar that it was 2 days before the anniversary of the Katrina flood. And everything that happens, everything is connected. Every date that you do something is connected. You see what I'm saying? Every time you are somewhere specific on a certain date, or somewhere on a specific date, it's a reason for that. And it always has to be decoded or revealed to you at some point in your life, if you are depending on how deep you are into your spirituality. And I left the 27th. We stayed there for a week, and I left the 27th. So God revealed to me that I evaded that judgment. I was always going to evade the judgment, just like a lot of us are evading the judgment. And because I left 2 days before the 29th, the anniversary, if I was in New Orleans, this is what God revealed to me. This is me specifically, but I'm sharing it because I know it'll help. If I was in New Orleans on the 29th, my judgment would be sealed to lose every single thing. Now think about this. Let's put everything together. 6 years ago, if I was in New Orleans on the 29th, which I wasn't, and 6 years was coming up, I would be sealed for that judgment because I was there on the 29th. That's how God works. He is so intentional with your location, with the things that happen to us on a daily. He is very, very intentional. Like I always say, he's very intentional. So because I was not there, God is showing me that I am evading the judgment that would have came over my life had I not understood and followed God the way I was supposed to follow God. Here's a spider. Look at the spider. Oh wow, I'm about to kill a spider right now. That's very symbolic. That is very symbolic of everything right now. So I just killed a spider. Oh my goodness. And that is very symbolic about the time that I was in, because that a spider played a pivotal part in my testimony and who I was becoming. And wow, okay. And I find it so interesting um, that we we are always connected in some way. So, like I said, on the 29th of August, 2019, if I was there and I was still living to tell this story, I would be headed in another direction of a horrible judgment for my life. This will be 6 years. This will be 6 years, and we're the 6th year would have been is coming up of August 29th, 2019, and because I left 2 days before, it's like God has revealed to me that I am being protected. Because this is another reason why I'm going to explain to you why I'm being protected. And he also confirmed to me in my dream, right? So the day, I think yesterday, for some reason I just kept thinking, hold on. I went to California in July of 2019 and I went to New Orleans, Louisiana, August 2019. Now, that's very peculiar because we all know that if you listen to Celestial and she's talking about the different earthquakes that's coming to California and how it's going to be destroyed, right after an earthquake, a tsunami most likely will come and it'll flood the state of California, right? And it'll have the same effects as Katrina, as New Orleans, just on a bigger level. And I'm looking at like all these TikTok videos and all of these stories, and I'm like, this looks like foreshadowing that's going to happen to California. What are the odds that I went into two of those states, both of those states, in the year 2019, and it's connected to the number 6 for the 6-year anniversary? That's very interesting. How can I not pay attention to that? And then when we look at the foreshadowing of New Orleans, speaking on how they weren't able to get help from FEMA, how they weren't able to sleep. They were in a dome. They were sick. They were dying. People were perishing. People were not able to escape. Like the number 6, it was a judgment. Nonetheless, it was a judgment, and it was allowed to happen. So it looks like foreshadowing because when that thing takes place in California, those they're going to be going through the same after effects that New Orleans went through. You see what I'm saying? And this is judgment. So this is signifying judgment. And the dream that I had this morning, I dreamt of Louisiana. That is so crazy to me. And I dreamt of being there while I was fasting. See, I always tell y'all, when we fast and we have dreams like this, that means God is protecting us from what's to happen. That's why it's so important to fast. And I'm a person that fasts a lot. And whenever you have a dream and you're fasting like this, I mean, whenever you're fasting, you have a dream like this, then you're protected in a way, in that these things will not come to pass in your life. This happens to me all the time. I experience this all the time. So he showed me where my life could have ended up even 6 years later, if had I not still been doing the spiritual work and the praying and the constant fasting and the constant dreaming and interceding. You see what I'm saying? And it just paints this picture of how connected God is to every fiber of or part of our lives. It's so He's so intentional. I cannot stress this enough. He's so intentional about everything he does, how he speaks and how he communicates and what he does. Even from something from 20 years ago, it can connect to something now. And it has. The Katrina flood. You know what I mean? It's their 20th year anniversary is coming up. So because of that dream that I had, it triggered me to remember that I was in Louisiana 6 years ago. So automatically I'm putting two and two together. When you're in the spirit, when you're in the spiritual realm, you're putting two and two together. You don't have the answer just put in front of you all the time. You have to put two and two together. You have to work it. You have to understand the connection, the coincidence, and you have to see how it all connects, because it's real, for it's happening for a reason. So because the 6 year anniversary is coming up, it led me to believe, to research the number six, and lo and behold, this connects with judgment and with the things that are to come, because I've been talking about judgment for a couple weeks now, almost a month, and it's like God is just settling, he's balancing the scales. He's really balancing the scales of judgment, and he's showing us what's to come. And a lot of us should know whether or not we're going to be judged harshly or judged good, or we're going to have a good judgment. And he's trying to tell you, he's trying to even warn you about the type of judgment that you're going to have. And that's the crazy thing. So he uses certain dates. So I can easily say, let's say you were a traveler, right? And you probably went to New Orleans around the same time that I did, and you were there on the 29th. Not like I wasn't there on the 29th, but say you were there on the 29th in 2019. You made this video may be for you. You know what I mean? But there's so many things that could take place where you can protect yourself and pray for yourself to be counted worthy to escape these things, because God shows you these are warnings that he gives us all the time. That's not a warning. That's not a coincidence. Excuse me, that's not a coincidence. When you can connect these different things to specific dates, and when you are at a heightened spirituality, you're going to automatically make the connections yourself, right? So that is one way that God really talks to us, through time, not just visions and dreams, not just hearing him audibly, but through time, through the numbers, and through the time of the timeline that we're in, the number of years that he gives us to show us what's going to come upon us or what's not going to come upon us. But a lot of our fates are sealed before we even know it, because he already knows where we're going. He already knows how it's going to play out. So he knew that I was going to get my act together. He knew that I was going to make it by the skin of my teeth, because I left on the 27th. That plays a part. That plays a huge part, because I evaded the judgment by leaving on the 27th, not even knowing anything about, timelines and year anniversaries, and not having any clue about that. But it was already set in stone. He already knew that I was going to figure most of these things out before they came to light. He knew I was going to figure these things out. I was going to transform, become reborn, and understand how everything is spiritual. So the fact that I'm right here in front of this camera making this video is proof that I understood on another level. And it's crazy how the fact that I'm just now dreaming about Louisiana in August of 2025, right before the anniversary, it's still showing me how I'm making it by the skin of my teeth. I'm making it by the skin of my teeth, because of how close together he gave me the dream, and how close the anniversary. So what's today? The 10th. I left Louisiana, New Orleans, on the 27th of 2019, August 27, 2019. So that's only a 17-day apart from the anniversary of that date. That's only 17 days. He gave me that dream today. So it's just beautiful to see how merciful he is, how merciful Yah is. He will give you all the tools that he needs. And then as you are coming up on the anniversaries of specific events, he will show you and expose to you, and knowledge will increase as that event is coming up for another year, and he will show you how um, connected he is to specific times of specific events. So I hope you guys understood that. And this video was mostly to help you guys understand how God speaks through time, not to talk about what, if I'm having a good judgment or bad judgment. This is about how you can apply it to your own life if this resonates with you. So if you see this video, you can apply this to any other dates in your life. You can apply it don't even necessarily have to be negative, because a lot of anniversaries that I deal with in my life are positive. This was just a negative one, and that's why I feel like I had to share it, because the positive ones, I like to share those, but I like to kind of keep my own blessings to myself. But this is important for you, so y'all can still pray fervently before the anniversary of something negative comes up in your life, and you're just starting to understand spiritual things like this. You know what I mean? So look at this video with spiritual eyes and understand that now when you think of a significant event on a significant date, see how it impacted your life, and then look at what happened, if you can remember what happened on the dates after that, the exact date, a year after that. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people will say, oh, anniversary, they're just year markers for a particular event that took place. Yeah, but it's there for a reason. God uses years to signify certain things. When Joseph got freed out of captivity, it was 13 years. It took him 13 years. And those 13 years were actually 13 years. And David, I believe he receives, I forgot what he received, but David, it took him 15 years to do something specifically. Sorry for not knowing exactly what that was, but I know 15 years played a part in his life about something significant. So these things that we look at, it can all be decoded by God. We just have to know where to go. Get your Strong's Concordance, get your Bible, help you understand, connect the word with the events that took place in your life. It's really fun when you think about it, when you have to go on a mission and try to decode these things that happen. So that's all, guys. I just wanted to share that with y'all and help y'all understand that these things play a part in our lives every day. And I'm out.